Hello and welcome back for another historic gameplay video. Today we're going to be playing this mono blue tempo deck. The deck is looking to stick a turn 1 creature and then back that up with counterspells and some card draw. Try and delay your opponent long enough to get the victory. Probably our best creature is the Delver of Secrets. If we can get it down on turn 1 with the number of instants in our deck, we can usually flip this fairly consistently and put on some real pressure. The Wanderer is also a good 1-drop, letting us use it as a counterspell if needed. Then the Sailor is in here as a flash threat that we can play out on our opponent's turn if we didn't need to counter something. And there's a single copy of Tamiyo, generate clue tokens for card advantage. And then if we do draw 3 cards in a turn, she can take over games by herself. In the mid-game, we're looking to equip our creatures either with Curiosity or Curious Obsession for additional card draw, allowing us to draw into more mana and more counterspells to better interact with our opponent. Then there's a handful of different 1, 2, and 3 mana counterspells. Flusterstorm as our 1 mana interaction. Lofty Denial, which pairs well with our flyers. Mana Leak. Test of Talents to permanently answer an instant or sorcery. Counterspell is a good catch-all, and Archmage's Charm, which has a few different options. Depending on the scenario, we can either counter a spell, draw a couple cards, or gain control of a non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. And then at the top end for our deck is Haughty Jim. At 3 mana, he has flying, and his power is going to be equal to the number of instants in our graveyard. He also reduces the cost of our instant spells by 1 generic mana, letting us cast them for 1 in this deck. For the mana base, we're playing 4 Vistas and 7 Islands. We really don't want to be drawing into too many lands with this deck, so being able to thin the islands out will potentially allow us to draw into more counter magic. Then there are a couple MVFC cards. Hydroelectric Specimen can change the target of a removal spell to itself, and Sink into Stupor can be a good tempo play in the mid-game. Obviously, as with any tempo deck, we really want to be on the play, as we can struggle to play from behind. But once we're able to get established, it can be quite difficult for decks to get through. And as they print better and better 2-mana counterspells, this deck should continue to improve in strength. So without further ado, let's jump into the games and see how the deck does. This hand is good. We'll keep. Here, I think we're actually going to bolt ourselves, because if our opponent has discard, we still want to be able to get up to 2 mana for turn 2. Looks like our Delver's not going to be long for this world. Up against the control deck here. That's unfortunate. Means we're not going to be able to pressure our opponent very well. Symmetry Sage, we can't let resolve, so just Wizards. This is actually a fine matchup. And then we'll use Lofty Denial. We don't have a flyer, and our opponent can't currently pay for it. Follow up Tamiyo. Unfortunate.
If you need me, I'll be in the library.
Suppose we could try to steal it with Archmage's Charm. Black mana as well. Just pass the turn here. I think we have to let them get at least 1 more clue. And their auto tapper is prioritizing black, so they have something like a Fatal Push in hand. So Thoughtseize, 2 mana up. Just don't think we want to play against this the rest of the game. We'll pull it out of their deck. Or attempt to. They could still have something like counter magic. There's the Fatal Push we thought they had. Snapcaster for more removal. Him will be able to transform their Tamiyo. See, this is actually Wizards. They do have Psychic Frogs in here. Couple Inquisition. No creature lands. Okay, not a ton of threats. Not much burn either, but this Tamiyo is going to solo the game. These only creatures. Yeah, non-land permanent. So we can actually let them level Tamiyo up quite a bit and then steal it right before it ultimates.
Think before you act.
We'll take this. So they play out Snapcaster just to draw a few cards, start pushing damage. They try a Dread Horde first. They can pay for mana leak, so we'll counterspell this. Alright, pass the turn again. Tamiyo is now up to 8 loyalty.
Library.
Gain control of her. Now we'll draw half our deck.
The multiverse holds more knowledge than I can ever learn.
So here we'll play out a land. Start on the Mausoleum Wanderer. Looks like our opponent is being a bit salty here. I would say in this rare instance, it's probably understandable. I'd be pretty upset too if my opponent stole my Tamiyo and then ultimate with her. And we could play something else out here. I don't think we even really need to. We can just pass the turn. Got a couple flash threats we can play in, hold up some counter magic. And that's the game. This hand is pretty good. We'll keep. Love to see our Delver survive here. Looks like that's not going to be the case. Well, they might concede after seeing our hand. Flusterstorm, they might be able to play around, but Counterspell and Test of Talents, not so much. And they have a Snuff Out as well. So that went about as poorly as it could have for us. From our opponent, we'll play out the land tapped. Cycle the Xander's Lounge. And they keep hitting land drops while we miss ours, so they are going to be favored in this control mirror. I think we will try and flash out the Sailor here. Make them use some interaction on their turn. Snuff Out we can counter cleanly. I think we'll use the Flusterstorm. Make sure to click on the right card here. All right, that's pretty good. Get the Obsession down. Looks like they might have something like a Surgical Extraction. Hopefully not another Snuff Out. It is a third one. That is unfortunate. We'll draw a card. And now we're at the whim of our opponent. They have done a lot of self-damage here. Maybe they are a shadow deck. Death Shadow, that is. Command. We'll discard the Lofty Denial since we no longer have a flyer. And we will fetch to thin here. We don't want any more lands. Djinn. If this resolves, we'll be able to hold up Test of Talents. Snapcaster. We can counter whatever they get here. I think they have to pay mana for this. And now we'll rip presumably the last copy out of their deck. Let's see what their library has. Crystal Tower, Force, more commands. Strixon Psychic Frog would be a problem. No creature lands. And Curious Obsession will be 6 damage. So this is game. I suppose they could have countered it with Force of Negation, but then we just test it. So we had that one. This hand is painful, but it plays. Verge from our opponent. It's tough. Likely to have black removal. Could be a mill deck though. I think we just have to go for it. It's going to be Reanimator, so if we can get to turn 2, we should be in good shape. Otherwise, we're likely to lose. The fact that they got rid of Life, Death, and the creature here means they probably already have Ascend. They shock in, and there it is. So we can just wrap this one up. They got in under us on the play. This hand is okay. Don't really want more lands. We already have 3, so we'll fetch to Thin, and we'll start on a Wanderer. Plains, and then Mother. This we can deal with. We'll bolt ourselves, attack for 1, pass the turn. Core, we can't let that resolve. Draw into another counterspell, which is great. Means we don't have to shock ourselves here. Similarly here, I think we need to use Lofty Denial on the Light Pause. If they start piling up enchantments on Mother and they don't have Vigilance, we can steal it with the Charm. They play out another Giver here. We'll get Curiosity down. Hit for 1. Draw a card. It's going to be a close one. Sheltered by Ghosts will mana leak. And they have a second one. Unfortunate. Do they attack in with both? Thankfully, they make a little mistake there. So we can't take the Mother. We'll get the Djinn down. The ward is going to protect it, so we weren't able to steal it. And the armor here is going to make it very difficult to race. Sheltered by Ghost is ward 2, so we just don't have the mana. And now they're going to be able to hold up Giver as well. Looks like they have a rescue. Unfortunate. And there's our lands. They can just give it pro blue and attack past us, so no point in playing this out any further. This hand looks good. We'll fetch, grab an island, play out our Delver, pass the turn. Starting town into looting. We should be able to deal with the Reanimator deck on the play. And we flip the counterspell. Fantastic. They use Death. I think with the first one here, we can use Test of Talents. Opponent should have used their Thoughtseize. Luckily, we have enough interaction, but they don't know that. So what do they have left? 3 copies of Persist. No creature lands. Hit for 3. And then even if they double Thoughtseize us, we're still going to have mana available. So I'm comfortable playing out the land tapped. Expect a concession here. They're not going to be able to get through our wall of counter magic. So they take the counter spell. Say if they play the other Thoughtseize, we'll probably mana leak it. But they just concede, which is what we expected after the Thoughtseize. Alright, this hand, very creature heavy. Up against Kahira, usually indicates Azur's control deck. I think we'll give it a try. And then I want to get Delver down early. Try and get some pressure on our opponent if they don't have a 1-mana removal spell. Play out the island, play the Delver. There's the Triome. Fortunately, we don't flip here, so we'll just hold up mana leak. And I think we will flash out the Sailor. I know that lets our guard down, but bad luck flipping the Delver. Here, between Tamiyo and the Wanderer, don't think we want to be using our mana for the clues, so we'll get Wanderer down, try and push some more damage. And we can let this resolve. I expect a board wipe here. Nope. Do we flip now? We do. Try and hit for 5. They use Fragment Reality. Do we try and save it? It is worth a lot of damage. Leaves us susceptible next turn. I think we will. That means we should have played out the sink first. Counter the spell snare here. And then we don't want to play out Tamiyo, but we will bolt ourselves here, just so that our opponent thinks we have more interaction. That's uncounterable. We'll get Tamiyo down, pass the turn.
No! I'm late for class!
Opponent up to 5 mana, and they try and stock up. I think we have to let this resolve. Try and flash in the Sailor. And then here, we can put the Obsession onto the Sailor Try and hit for 2. That works. And we'll draw a card here. Another obsession. We can protect Tamiyo at instant speed with the charm by drawing cards if they have another board wipe. Or we can use it to counter something, but it is our only counter spell at the moment. And the verdict means that we're going to try to save her by drawing. Why did she not flip? Is that 3 cards? 3rd card. So that was just a mistake on my part. So used to drawing 2 cards and having her transform. Try and flash in a sailor here. And then we're also going to fetch to thin. And we can draw a card with the clue. Wanderer, they've already used 2 Supreme Verdicts, so we're not going to play around the 3rd one here. Can't counter that.
Feel the energy of battle, then guide it with water. My judgment is fine.
Seek new knowledge. This we can Flusterstorm, I think. We'll save the test of talents. Wish they had a same target option in Arena. Consult would be quite strong here. I think we're going to have to test of talents this. Do they have a counter back? They do. And they have the mana up for the Wanderer, so we are in a lot of trouble here. They likely grab a 1 mana removal spell and another card advantage card. At this point in the game, our conditional counters aren't very good either, especially now without card advantage, where we would be able to play more than 1 in a turn.
We've got the edge in this fight.
This we can still mana leak. Now, Obsession is only when it deals combat damage to a player. So I think we need to go face here, if this even resolves. Which it doesn't look like it's going to. So this one's over. There's no coming back for a tempo deck at this point in the game. This hand is playable. Could use a few more counter spells though. We'll go grab an island and start on Delver. Soulscar Mage, so up against the Wizards deck, and unfortunately we don't flip here. I think we just need to hold up our Lofty Denial, which if they use a 1 mana spell we won't be able to counter. Another Soulscar. And then a Shanty. We'll counter that. Unfortunately, with the Prowess, I think we're just too far behind already. Test of Talents will let us flip here. And we can get an Obsession down on the Aberration. Draw into another test, and I think we're going to fetch now, just so that there's no good window for our opponent. They can still easily deal with the Aberration. Let's see here. Draw a card, take an extra turn. Don't think we can target that. Opponent knows about the test of talents, so they're going to be using bait spells where they can. This we will test of talent, and we might as well pull it out of their deck. Let's see. Don't care about that. They're going to have a hymn. Let's see what other creatures they have. Dreadhoard's not a surprise. Symmetry Sage, not a surprise. A couple Tamiyos, one more Soul Scar. Doesn't look like a very good version of this deck. Opponent hits us down to 10. We'll clap back, draw a card. It's another sink. I think we play that out tapped. And then we can flash in the Sailor. Can also test of talents to him. Alternatively, we could try to sink one of their Soul Scars here, which is, I think, what we're going to have to do. Now, that changes things. Pull those out of the deck as well. And then the Sailor will have to chump block. Down to 5. We can charm, take one of their Soul Scars. Let me see here. First, let's attack in. See if we draw an untapped land. We do, so that was best case scenario. Now we can hold up Sync, Charm, and Talent all in the same turn. And we can use only one of these 3 drops. Do we use it on Expressive Iteration? Probably not. Man, opponent has had some really good draws here. Unfortunately, I think that we are forced to use Test of Talents again. I think that was a 1 of in their library. Yep. So, found the perfect answer out of 45 cards. They fire the hymn off right away. We'll let the Prowess trigger resolve first. And then if we wait for them to attack, then we can just win the game on the attack back using Sink into Stupor on the Kumano. So I think we wait. They'll send in with both here. That way they don't have a blocker back on defense. Then we'll just sink, and it doesn't really matter what we put back in their hand here. Great game. All right, so there you have the deck, and honestly, I don't think I can recommend this one in the current meta. The decks are just so fast now, and they have so many 1-mana threats that they play out, that anything that gets under our turn 1 can just win the game on its own, meaning our turn 2 counterspells are too slow. And so we actually had a lot of trouble there and struggled to really tempo our opponents out. Additionally, with the 1-mana and even free interaction now in the format, they can just overwhelm our counterspells on turns 2 and 3 before we're able to cast multiple in a turn, which didn't feel good. In slower matchups or matchups where we really only care about a few key cards, such as Reanimator or a Living End, this deck should do quite well, as you can just wait for the key spell and then pick it off with your counters while ignoring things like cantrips. However, even those decks, if they are on the play, have the potential to win before you're able to hold up counterspell. So it's tough out there. So I think we'll just put this one back on the shelf for the time being and wait until the meta changes. As always, I'd like to thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more content.